Bell and Company.
Yes, it is another edition of the Bell and Company Show here on IntellectualRadio.com and also through their YouTube page and Facebook when I share it, and they also do as well. And then, of course, don't forget the version of it that's on the podcast. Of course, you can listen to the audio through Spreaker.com, and eventually they end up on the iHeart app. So that's really awesome. And, wherever else I share it. So just look for Bell and Company Radio on the internet, and you will find us. That's what I try to tell everybody when they're confused. Well, where am I? Who do I tell? Where are you on right now? But the main thing they want to go to is the website, intellectualradio.com, or Intellectual Radio on their YouTube page. Those are the big ones. So anyway, yes, it is Bell and Company, and we're here with our guest that was very patient in the first half of our Friday show. It's Friday that we're doing this. If you're not watching the live version, we had Mr. Vlad Lee. Is it Lie or Lee? I never asked.
My full name's actually Laskowski.
Oh,
just,
okay.
Go by LY because it's shorter.
Yeah, so just you want Lee or Lie, whatever. But Vlad,
Yes.
This is Vlad, and I know him actually kind of a weird way we met, but it's pretty cool. And he turned me on to his site and a whole bunch of other stuff that he wants to talk about. And then, of course, don't forget we have Libby all the time hanging out, my co-host.
Hi, how you doing?
Ventriloquist dummy.
Hey, Libby.
Hi. Welcome.
Yeah, don't forget to acknowledge Libby. She's over there. She might throw in a joker in there. We forgot to tell or have Mr. Dreesen tell the story about my aunt or my, I guess, cousin-in-law, because it's my aunt's cousin. I thought they were sisters. Anyway, back to the story. He was supposed to tell a story about them in Palm Springs. There's some great pictures that if Mr. Dreesen lets me, I'm going to post all over Facebook because they're really awesome. And guess who's in the pictures, Vlad? Just take a wild guess.
Who?
Oh, Sinatra.
Frankie.
Mr. Sinatra.
Awesome.
Oh, Blue Eyes.
Chairman of the board.
The chairman of the board. So it's really cool stuff. Some great history. So I want to thank again Mr. Dreesen, Tom Dreesen, for being on. So many stories there. And he's still performing. He's going to be performing in Chicago, and we're going to do our best to get tickets. I think it's already sold out, but I'll double check that. May 11th for Mr. Tom Dreesen at the Den Theater. And his show that he's been doing, he's toured across the country doing the show before, but now he's back again. You'd never know he's in like his late 70s, early 80s. You'd never know that, right,
He's
Libby?
90.
No, he's not. He's not
He's
that
born
old.
Tom Dreesen was born September 11th, 1939.
Man, he's almost as old as William Shatner.
He's older than my parents.
My other favorite actor / legend in entertainment.
Yeah.
So anyway,
That's why I was
yeah,
amazed he's still alive and tells all these stories.
it
It's
was a great
amazing,
show.
yeah.
I'd love to have him tell more stories. So hopefully we'll get out there and we'll see him.
Yeah.
And we'll talk to his manager and hopefully we get to meet him
The
backstage.
guy
or
whose name
something.
was Brandon.
Brandon, yeah. I wonder if we're supposed to be telling everybody that. But anyway, so now we are in our second part.
We don't know his last name.
Yeah, right. We'll just go with that. Oops, we gave it out on the air. Now everybody's going to know. Well, he said it on the air anyway.
Yeah.
So that's May 11th for Mr. Dreesen here.
I'm
at the
such a
Den
dummy
Theater
sometimes. you
in
know.
Chicago. Well, don't worry about it. He said it, so we can't argue. But anyway, so now we have a really cool guest here that he kind of got surprised by the fact that we were talking to the guy that opened for Sinatra. So we have Vlad here with us, and you've got a cool story of your own. You're kind of a local celebrity here in the suburbs of Chicago, Illinois. So.
I mean, I wouldn't exactly say that, but I do a bunch of interesting things that I like to share.
You say that, but you have a lot of friends.
True.
So, and you have a really cool website. Before I forget, well, the camera probably won't see it, but this is what it's on your shirt. Just show your shirt.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. Brand New Logic is his website. And he does a lot of recommendations for things like comedy. Speaking of Mr. Dreesen, comedy specials, all kinds of shows, art shows. Even movies, like I just saw a couple of reviews you did for movies. That was pretty cool. And that's all on, again, brand new Logic.
Logic, dumbass.
Yeah, sorry. Brand new Logic.com.
I'm the DI.
There we go.
Sorry.
She's in a little bit of a bad mood today.
Not
She
bad
was
mood.
holding her tongue with Mr. Dreesen, so that's good.
No.
But anyway, so we're glad to have you here, and thanks for hanging out. So we got a lot we want to talk about. You think we can cover it in 30 minutes, or are you going to have to come back again, I think?
We'll see how it goes.
Okay. So the first thing I did mention, I met you kind of in a weird way. I was at a little cafe, and you were there, and we started talking, and it was kind of cool. You just started up a conversation, started giving like advice, telling us that, oh yeah, I have a website. It was kind of like we knew you forever. It was kind of cool.
He wasn't shy at all.
No,
was he?
no, it was great. It was great. And I feel like
Well,
I did know
admire
him,
that.
you know.
It was great to meet you there, and I'm glad that we stayed in contact after that on social media.
Yeah, that's social media is where it's at, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's where we are. Again, Facebook, YouTube, IntellectualRadio.com. Eventually, everybody ends up on the app for iHeart, which is awesome. And then, hopefully you'll share some stuff, right? You'll share it, won't you, Vlad?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so social media is awesome. I'm a little worried, and this really doesn't have anything to do with Vlad right now, but I'm wondering what's going to happen because we're trying to market stuff on TikTok. You think that's going to ever go away? I'm thinking somebody's going to buy it.
Oh yeah, I don't think the ban means the end of TikTok. I think it's just gonna force them to sell it, and it's still gonna be an aspect of American culture.
I think so too because it's like entrenched in the culture. I don't know if you remember this, Vlad. It used to be, and it was much shorter clips. It was like 6 or 7 or 8 seconds, whatever it was.
It was on Vine.
It was Vine.
Yeah.
And a lot of people became really well known from that.
David
So,
Dobrik.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The thing with the purse. I don't have that clip. You caught me off guard with that one, Libby. But yeah, so TikTok is a really cool place to market stuff. I don't know. Do you think it's for a younger audience? I'm not really sure.
Well, at first TikTok came out as just like it was seen as a place for people to do trends or dance videos, but it's grown to be much more than that. Now it's just a platform for short form content. So it's basically like a YouTube. It's not just for the new generation like cringy dances. It's any kind of content that you want, anything you're interested in, the algorithm will optimize for you. If you're into cars, if you're into working out, or you're into learning, that's what the algorithm will be for you. So
Yeah,
I
and
think
that's
it's evolved to be much more than what it originally
it's
became popular for.
it's like the shorter version of say a YouTube video, like what we do with our show is like an hour usually, or specials too that are like 30 minutes or an hour, whatever it's going to be. But they're doing more like a 1 minute, 2 minute thing, like the reels, right? Isn't that more
Yeah.
what TikTok is? Like it always was, even live, but short, right?
Yeah. Well, now they also include long form content, but it's still mainly 1 minute videos.
So speaking of TikTok, aren't you on there with like pictures of artwork and stuff?
I share short form clips from my YouTube channel on my TikTok.
You do.
Yeah.
Great. See, you're doing what we have. See, are you taking notes, Libby, over there? You're not taking
Yeah.
any notes. So
I'm
that's what we're looking
remembering.
to do. I'll tell you what, just being here will get you a lot of attention. I mean, I knew about him. I worked with Earl a couple times, the owner here on his show. He had a cable show on public access TV, and it's many years ago though. But they've been here a while. I think it's like 15 years already. So they've got a great following. So it's a great place to if you want to talk about something and get it out to the masses, not so much just in Chicago either, by the way. This is social media and internet, so it's everywhere. So anyway,
Well, before I begin on my website, I just brought a little gift for you guys. This is some of my AI generated art that I created. It's the Chicago skyline in
Wow.
the style of Gustav Klimt.
I can't even draw
that
a
is
straight
awesome.
line.
And the Chicago skyline in the style of Van Gogh.
I was going to
Oh,
say that's
wow.
definitely a
That's-
Van Gogh look.
yeah.
I love it. I'm going to hold them up. I'll just hang on to them. I'm going to actually, I don't know where it went. I'm sorry, Vlad, I lost it. I'm going to keep these. These are great. Like,
Yeah,
so
please
I'll just hang on to this. I don't know how much the camera can see it, but I feel like in the old talk shows on the table, just put it on the table. But anyway, so yeah, so you are getting back to you. The website is kind of a sum of all your stuff, right? I mean, you
Yeah.
talk about a little everything because you want to talk about some health stuff. You can go to the website, brandnewlogic.com, right?
Yeah. So the whole philosophy behind my website is one of my personal quotes. Don't just passively appreciate, promote the things you love. Now,
Ooh, that's a great quote. Say that again.
don't just passively appreciate, promote the things you love. Now,
Mhm.
I had this realization that every person is a walking treasure trove of useful information that they have gathered throughout their life. And, and things like good movies, good restaurants to see, a good book to read, good products, good bands, good comedy specials. And unfortunately, most people only share their gems with maybe their one best friend or their significant other.
Mhm.
And I want to encourage everybody to share all of their great finds with everyone in their life. So everyone's life can be enriched by these finds.
That's what was so cool about our conversation when we first met. We just got like right into it. I don't remember. I think I asked something. I asked about a topic and boom, you were right. Like, oh, let me show you this. And by the way, I have brandnewlogic.com website. It was, it was definitely a way to promote your message or your, what do you want to call it? Not aura. What's the word? Where it just all about you. It's all about Vlad basically.
Yeah.
And if you want to know about Vlad, go to the website because he's got a lot of cool stuff up there. And by the way, it's not like you're charging people $5 a month to get the information or anything.
No, my website's completely free, and I don't have any ads on there. I want to keep the integrity of my website, that everything on there is a genuine recommendation that I would recommend to my best friends. Nothing there is paid or sponsored content.
That's great.
Wow.
And
That's great.
I recommend things on there like comedy specials, movies, music playlists, art. I also write articles on a bunch of different things that I want to inform people about.
Do you do? No, I mean I've seen you share articles, but on your actual social media, like on Facebook, for instance, are you doing like a blog there where you have? I know I've seen you share articles, but what about actual like just like talking about a topic? Do you put up a blog there too?
I post the articles on my website, and then I go ahead and share them to all the relevant places, different Facebook groups, Reddit pages that would be relevant to the topic that I'm covering.
Oh, that's great. So again, brandnewlogic.com is the way to the place to go if you want to know what Vlad's thinking at the moment, or just any cool ideas about things or advice. I mean, I like some of these comedians you've been talking about. I want to have them on here, and it's because I saw him on Brand New Logic, or actually on his Facebook, but still, it was from him recommended it on his site. So that's pretty awesome. And then, I mean, is your background in art or something? I mean, because even though it's AI, you still had to kind of come up with the idea. This is pretty cool.
Yeah, I have some background in art. I do acrylic painting on canvas as well as digital drawings. But when AI art came out, that transformed my life. We're living in a time where you're no longer limited by your technical art skills. You're only limited by your imagination. So whatever the creative concept you can have, that's what limits the kind of art that you can create.
I think we need to make a digital AI version of Libby. How about that?
Yeah, why not?
I can definitely help you guys with that.
We actually, that's what I wanted to talk about. You don't hear about it too much anymore, but people were making money doing the little image. I forget what they're called now. Oh my gosh.
NFTs?
Yes, NFTs. So did you have to shed some light on that, or how do you feel about those?
I think for that, I think that was kind of like a hype for a while. It was people investing it for speculative purposes, just so money can go up and they can sell it. But moving to the future, I see NFTs being, a big part of our actual transactions. People will be buying like movie tickets, event tickets on NFTs. So it'll be a real thing that we all use. And the purpose of just buying to sell it, I think that was just like a trend and a fad.
People say that about Bitcoin, but Bitcoin's been blowing up. So I don't know. You can now buy, I guess, Tesla, you can buy cars with Bitcoin. Not NFTs, Bitcoin, but kind of a similar concept. Isn't the blockchain involved with NFTs as well as just like Bitcoin?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. So anyway, okay. So maybe we won't make any money, but we could just do some fun stuff with Libby. Because everybody wants to see what they look like artificial intelligence wise, right?
And I do have artificial intelligence.
Yeah, well, technically you're
I
just
am a dummy, but
yeah, right, exactly. Well, there's a person behind the dummy, and that's what we were going to talk about. I knew I forgot something with our last interview with Mr. Dreesen. I mentioned Kevin Matthews, but I didn't mention that he was the inspiration, not Tom Dreesen, but Kevin Matthews, for me to have like a sidekick. That
maybe Tartars.
Yeah, we turned into a real person, because Kevin Matthews is a guy that was on WLUP many years ago. He's, I'm getting older, and I was an intern when he was like in his prime time. But anyway, he created a sports director who was really arrogant and always like mean and, ornery type guy,
cranky.
And eventually he started doing appearances with like that,
but he was
like
dressed
my
up
co-host.
in the real clothes.
Yeah, he would put sometimes it was a person, sometimes it was an actual dummy, but for the most part, it was he was doing it. He would do an appearance on his TV show dressed up as his alter ego.
We were inspired by Kevin.
Yeah, so that's I know it's weird that I didn't mention that with him. I thought I was going to with Mr. Dreesen, but whatever. So back to Vlad. AI is like here to stay, isn't it?
Definitely, especially now that Meta has launched their AI, and you have ChatGPT, you have Meta AI, and you have Google's Gemini. We have 3 free AI tools that everyone can use to improve their life.
You think we can use that, and we don't even have to be here? We'll just program it.
I think so. I think we can ask him to do a version of the host.
No, I like doing it live, but
we do it live.
Yeah, like good old Bill O'Reilly quote. But yeah, no, I get it that it's like taking over everything. I mean, I wrote some of the bio information for some of my guests on the other show I'm doing on weekends, and I put a couple words in, and all of a sudden it just started creating the whole thing. It wasn't ChatGPT, it was the other one. What'd you say the other one was?
Gemini.
I think it was Gemini. Yeah, it was whatever the other manager told me to try. I don't know. It was just like I was just surprised that like things were popping up on the screen that I didn't even mention, and it just did it. So is that kind of what? Can you do that for like your blog with the website, where it just kind of generates it for you?
No, I write the articles on my website, but I just use AI to, whenever I want to look something up or do research instead of Googling things, I just do it in natural conversation form with an AI assistant.
Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know that was even an option. Does I have an iPhone and I've got Apple. I mean, AT&T iPhone Apple. Does it do it with that?
Yeah, you just
I got to download the app,
you
right?
just go to Google Gemini and you can start having conversation with it.
Oh man, I just feel so out of touch with
Yeah,
technology.
me too.
You know, they're trying to get rid of cash too. And we're going to get it more into you in a second, but you brought this up, AI. I still want the green dollar back, even though
The greenback
everybody says it's
dollar.
like, fiat currency is worth nothing, but I still want it. I don't want just credit cards because I feel like, aren't you going to
Yeah.
be tracked more? Aren't younger? You're younger than me, obviously. Aren't you worried about that?
I think the younger generation is a lot less worried about that. I think we're more all are about convenience of things, and I think that kind of outweighs our decision.
I mean, I'll give you that. Obviously, if you just hand them a chip or they scan your phone, it's a lot easier than grabbing coins and dollar bills. I get it. But, there's certain things. I'm not saying I do it, but there's people that maybe don't want to be tracked, or what they're doing.
No,
What
Well,
about
your cell phone
gambling?
tracks you.
Do you want to be tracked when you're gambling? That's one thing I don't like.
Personally, would not like to be tracked, but the way I see the trend going with the younger generation, people aren't even using credit cards anymore. They're just using their phone and the card saved on their phone. So
It is true. Everything's
Mhm.
saved in my wallet. Well, I only have one thing saved in my wallet, but yes, I agree. That is like a trend
I
of the
don't
future.
even have a cell
Well, you have a
phone.
tablet, but it's not an Apple, so it's
Yeah.
different than the wallet. But
Yeah.
they have something like that on your tablet.
Yeah. Do they?
But
Oh,
yeah,
I didn't even
yeah.
know that.
Libby's old fashioned. She writes checks.
I'm old school.
Yeah, yeah. But so anyway, I didn't mean to get off the subject, but you brought it up. So it helped you create these awesome works of art. But again, it didn't make it. I want to clarify that before we move on. You made it. You told it, hey, I want it to look like this with clouds and look
So
like Van Gogh.
I wrote up a text description, and then based on my description, it generated the art piece. And it's as simple as doing that, but it's not as easy as doing that because oftentimes you're not going to get something great on the first try. It takes many attempts of refining your prompt, creating different variations until you finally stumble upon something that you can be proud of and it's worth sharing.
Wow.
So it's kind of a like a skill to be able to be a prompt engineer, to be able to choose the right words in the right order and the right context to direct the machine to create the art for you.
So they're not getting rid of us yet. It's not like the Terminator, not quite yet.
So
I
yeah,
hope
so
not.
Basically, I perform the job of an art director, and while the computer is the technical artist that creates the piece for me under my direction.
Perfect explanation. Again, you can hear more of that. I'm sure he talks about that on some articles in brandnewlogic.com.
Absolutely, I have many articles covering.
This is
the AI art
awesome.
Phenomenon.
What is your background then? I thought it was in art, but I guess it's more like technology, like tech stuff, right?
I'm just a big technology and AI nerd. I like to read up on all the latest trends and innovations.
Well, what did you study when you were going to school? What did you focus on?
Communication, but that wasn't something that I ended up wanting to go in.
Being an artist, you still need to give speeches and when you're at the show, you show your artwork. That could work. I mean, I obviously study communications, duh, doing this stuff. But okay, that makes sense. That you went with like a general ed type, not a specific major. You kind of did something that could go anywhere, basically.
Correct.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's what they always told me. You can't just do radio and TV media broadcasting as a major, even though I ended up doing that, ended up going even to trade schools for it, back to college for it. They were always telling me do business as like a major or even a minor, but do business administration, business marketing, whatever it is, something business related. And then law. Everybody thought I was going to be an attorney.
Yeah,
Did I
right.
make a good attorney? I don't know. I mean, I like to talk about stuff, and I think I can schmooze the judge a little, but honestly, I just don't see. That's a lot of studying.
You are a good communicator, so I could see you being good at that job.
I agree, but I'd have to have like 4 assistants because I just don't want to sit there and do all the research.
True.
You obviously do. You do a lot of research, obviously.
And something I'd really like to share with you guys in the show is how water exposure has transformed my life.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you about how does that translate into your other passion, which is the, like health, and now obviously these plunges that people are doing. That's not new, by the way. People, the Russians and like Eastern Europeans have been doing it for years.
Yeah.
Thousands of years. But for some reason,
But recently,
people like you caught on to it.
yeah, I love that this has become like a latest trend for people to incorporate into their lives. And I began doing this simply to have more energy in the morning, and I did not expect the multitude of of all the benefits that I got from this practice. Now,
That's
uh,
awesome. I
but
mean, I would again, it's not something I would just think about. Well, I'm going to start doing cold plunging. I thought it's for like athletes to recover from whatever they did. They fell off the balance beam, the gymnastics guys.
Yeah, so muscle recovery is part of the health benefits that you get from it, but there's a lot more than that I didn't realize. First, gives you immediate motivation because when you do a cold plunge, when you do cold water exposure, you get a 200% increase in dopamine in your brain. And
Mm.
dopamine is actually a molecule for motivation. So when you do that,
Mm.
Hmm.
you're a lot more motivated to get things done instead of put them off. You're a lot more motivated to have a productive morning instead of being lazy. So that's one benefit, is the 200% increase in dopamine that you get for the next 2 hours after doing that. Second thing is your ability to tolerate discomfort. you know
Mm.
uh, we're, Everybody kind of walks the path of least resistance. You want to avoid discomfort as much as possible, but by forcing yourself to voluntarily endure discomfort, it translates to you being able to do that a lot more effectively in your life outside of that.
I
So
heard something about this in another couple other posts on Instagram that yeah, you got to do things that maybe you don't like. The pain, you got to have the pain to have the gain, or something like that. It goes something like that. But I guess cold plunging can relate to that. You do this, it gives you that mentality, the dopamine, all that. Go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
yeah, so this is my first attempt at building discipline into my life. I was a kind of a very lazy and a disciplined person, and when I started incorporating cold water exposure into my life, that's when everything transformed. That's when I started being comfortable with being uncomfortable, and I started not avoiding the difficult things and facing them head on. And that all started with me doing cold showers, then moving on to cold plunges, and then I saw how that translated to every other aspect in my life.
Oh, that's a pretty cool thing. I'm glad you found it. And again, you
Mm.
probably found it doing research for his website. Again, is brandnewlogic.com, just like it sounds, LOGIC, brand new logic. And maybe you did want to do a blog about it or something. And then they're like, you know what? I'm going to start doing this. How did you get into actually doing it?
Well, like because it's a health trend that's been going around for the last like 2 years. All the different podcasts that I listen to, I always hear people talking about it and the value it's brought into their life. And I finally decided to pull the trigger on it and give it a shot. And again, like I only started doing it so I can have more energy when I wake up in the morning. I did not expect how it's going to completely transform my life and
That's
and build
awesome.
discipline.
What about the temperature of the cold plunge? Let's talk about that a little bit.
So
I mean,
it needs to be between 50 and 60 degrees,
oh,
which is not as cold as people think.
Right.
Your shower, if
Yeah.
the coldest your shower will get to is about like 58 to 60 degrees. So you can already experience how cold it would be just with a shower alone.
okay. Interesting. Because I mean, like I said, I've been in the shower many times where we lost the hot water and I'm sitting there taking a cold shower, but I don't know if it's at 60 degrees. It's still semi warm and it still shocks you. So that's what you want. That's the thing you get. The shock part is what gives you
Yeah.
that dopamine, right?
Well, and something really interesting that I learned recently is how dopamine. Most people think that it's just your pleasure molecule. That's what we were all taught, back in high school. It's your instant gratification. You get a kill in a video game, you have dopamine. You taste some good food, you get dopamine. You hear a funny joke, dopamine. But that's only 50% of it. Dopamine is also responsible for your motivation. There's a
Hmm.
really interesting rat study where they took two rats. They took a rat, put it in a cage, and there was a button that a rat could press, and it would dispense food for it. So the rat would go and press the button, it would dispense food, and it would eat it. So they took two rats and they somehow removed all the dopamine from their brain, and then they went ahead and put the food right next to one rat, and the rat with zero dopamine still ate the food that was right in front of its mouth. But the other rat, they placed it only one rat length away from the button, and that rat would not get up to press it. Meaning, with no dopamine, the rat had no motivation to put the effort to press the button to get the food. And we knew that the rat was still hungry and wanted to eat, because if it was in front of its face, it ate it. But when you had to walk a few steps and press the button, it no longer had any motivation to do so. And this
Wow.
rat study fundamentally transformed my perspective on how I view dopamine. And and I started doing things to get more dopamine into my life, so that I could have the motivation to get all the things I want to get.
It makes a
done
lot of
complete.
sense.
No,
Yes.
that's interesting. That
Yeah.
at least you realize. I mean, I guess people just get that feeling, but not. This is
Right.
you're making sure you get the feeling every day by doing the cold plunge and the
Yes.
showers. I got it.
There's other things that you can do to optimize dopamine in your
Drugs? Oh no,
well,
illegal ones.
Sugar.
life. Getting quality sleep is the first one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's really important. Getting early morning sunlight exposure, that's also really important. When I wake up, first thing I do is go on a 10-minute walk around the park and get direct sunlight into my eyes.
You know
And-
that my doctor just told me that, because I'm having some eye issues, getting old now, I guess. But I had him, and he thinks it's related to too much blood sugar, like diabetes. And he told me you need to get more sun and more vitamin D. That's
Yeah,
one big
vitamin
one.
D, right?
And then obviously watch your sugar level. But that's interesting you just said, because he said the same thing. Go out for a walk without sunglasses, right?
Yeah.
Forget the sunglasses. I guess you could have a hat just if it is really, really bright, but not the sunglasses.
Yeah, and another thing is eating protein-rich foods to start out your day. Protein converts to tyrosine, and tyrosine is a precursor for dopamine. So if you start out your morning with eating some eggs, for example, and then you'll have a much better dopamine baseline for the rest of your day.
It's funny you say that. My dad has been telling me that my whole life. Eat some oatmeal and some eggs. I don't like eating a lot of food at all. I've been doing something, and I don't know what you know about this. I've been doing intermittent fasting.
Oh,
So
that is great for you.
I stop eating around 8 at night and don't start again until about noon or 1 the next day. It seems to be working great. I mean, I lost you. You may not look like it on this camera, but in general, like even since I met you, like almost 2 years ago, I've lost a lot of weight. So I think it works. But now I got to start doing the vitamin D, getting the sun in the morning, and I guess start doing cold showers and cold plunges, right?
Absolutely. You will see how that transforms your life completely.
That's awesome. And again, you'll have this information on your site, brandnewlogic.com, don't you?
Yeah, you can go to my website, and there's a section for articles, and there's articles on all these different topics that we covered today, like exchanging useful information and cold exposure, dopamine, and a multitude of other things that
Oh,
I
are you
like to share.
You're not selling your art though. You're giving it away, right? Is that what you're
Yes.
saying?
Yeah, these are just gifts for you guys.
Oh, but that's awesome. Thank you very much for being here with us and bringing us that. I'm definitely hanging this in my office. I like this one. I really like this one. This is kind of his Van Gogh-ish,
Starry
look.
Night.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, again, Mr. Vlad Lee, how do I say the last name?
Liskowski.
Liskowski. See, I just was calling you Vlad. Actually, just Vlad. But anyway, Vlad Liskowski. I got it. And go to brandnewlogic.com for more information. Follow him on. I know you're on for sure Facebook, but you're probably on Instagram. You said TikTok. What else?
I also have a YouTube channel. It's also by the name Brand New Logic. I share different content on there. I create video versions of the articles that I write and post them on the YouTube channel.
Oh, this is great.
And one thing I want to mention is on my website, right on the homepage, there's a section where you can sign up for my email list. And I send out one email only once per week, and it has all the recommendations and articles that I added to the website that week. That way, you don't have to keep checking my website to see what's new there. You'll just get one email every Sunday with everything that I added on there.
I think we got to add it as part of the show somehow. What do you think, Libby? Because that's pretty damn cool. Just have everybody
Yes,
go
of
there,
course.
and
It sounds
as long as you
fun.
put some info about us up there too, if you don't mind.
No, absolutely.
And obviously we'll share this video for you. But anyway, thanks a lot for being here, Vlad. That was awesome. And you got to experience a really cool interview beforehand with Mr. Tom Dreesen. So it's been a heck of a night here at IntellectualRadio.com between 6 and 7:30. So I thank, actually, Wanda is doing everything for us today. I thank you very much. And of
Yes,
course,
thank
Earl,
you.
the owners of IntellectualRadio.com for doing this. And again, you'll see it. We're going to do some reels. We'll share them on his site. Again, brandnewlogic.com. And we'll catch you. Actually, we'll be here again this weekend, so you can tune in around noontime tomorrow, and you'll hear more from us. Anyway, it's Mario J. Bell and Libby signing off here from Bell and
Bye.
Company at IntellectualRadio.com. Everybody have a good one.
Good night.
Yeah,
Have
thanks for
fun
having me
tonight.
down here.
Thank you for being here.
You're tuned in to IntellectualRadio.com.